to Child's Play 3 now.
It's showtime!
Oh, yeah.
So, set years in the future, we rejoin Andy as he is now a teenager attending a military school. Bodies start to pile once again when the notorious good guy shows up at the school looking to claim a soul for his own. This film's rated R, of course, directed by Jack Bender this time, written by Don Mancini again. It was released in 91. It's an hour and 30 minutes long, and it has a 23% on Rotten. Yeah. It's starring Justin Walea and Pere Reeves and Jeremy Silvers. So what did you think about this, man? Or do you like it?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, like I said in the last episode, I think this is a movie that I most remember.
Yeah, I know they show it still, like, to this day, on TV all the time.
And I think anytime it's on TV, I always come onto it when it's in the carnival scene.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the conclusion.
Yeah, it's always that scene, and but maybe that's why I remember it so much. But yeah, that kind of shocked me, the 23%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a great movie, but do you know what the other ones were rated? Like 1 and 2?
I know 1 has a high rating, of course.
Yeah.
2 has, I think I said last week, it's like a 42%. So it's still not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, still pretty bad, like, because that film's really good.
Yeah, I like
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it goes hand in hand with the second one. I can't imagine, like, Scream 2 being so revered on Rotten, but then Child's Play 2 isn't. It's super strange.
Yeah.
And this one, like you said, I think it's a good movie. Mm-hmm. I think it's the weakest link out of the 3 of them.
Okay.
But I would say it's still good.
Yeah.
And it follows, like, where you would, I guess, like, an interesting kind of path to where the story would progress. Like,
yeah.
Because this came out... So the part 2 came out in 1990.
Okay.
This came out in 91, just 9 months later. 9 months later after 2.
Oh, wow.
So they rushed the hell out of this one.
You can kind of tell. Yeah.
And I think the only reason this holds up is because somehow the casting was really, really good.
Yeah, I like the cast, yeah.
Because the story is kind of silly, but I feel like everything's kind of believable because of the kids that they got, and the setting, the military school setting, you know, hasn't really been done as far as, like, in the horror, like,
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some original ideas to be had in this.
Yeah, I think, and also the thing that keeps it together, I think, is also because Chucky's in it.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, he's in the movie, but I think that's what makes it. That's what gives it that 23%. You know, it's not like a 5 or anything. I think, you know.
Oh yeah, like
it just holds it. You know,
because he's got his infamous one-liners.
Yeah, I mean, they're great. I mean, that's probably the best thing about this movie.
You're a fucking drag.
I mean, it's his. You know, his one-liners and everything. But I mean, that's probably, like, a lot of the best parts of all of his movies.
Yeah,
are his one-liners.
Yeah, I think just Brad Dourif as a voice actor is amazing. Like, you could just sit there and listen to him for hours because it's so funny.
Yeah.
Especially as Chucky, I feel like he's created this persona where when you hear something, you'd be like, oh, that is totally something he would say. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You get a feel for that character. And I think that's super fun. But I actually have another a Don Mancini interview specifically for Child's Play 3. It's from the same people I grabbed from last time.
Okay.
It's the B-Movie podcast or whatever exclusive. It's called the Chucky Files. So let's take a listen to that.
Yeah, let's do that.
And listen to Don's insight on a little bit of part 3.
Yeah.
This movie
fascinates me for one particular reason, in that it takes place in the future.
Yes.
This came out the year after Child's Play 2, and Andy goes from being
9 months, actually.
9 months.
9 months.
9 months after Child's Play 2, which takes place more or less present day. Andy is about 8 years old. And then the next year, he's 16.
Yes.
So this movie's taking place in, 1998. And I wondered, is that why you set it in a military school, so that you don't have to, put in, hover cars or new technology or new fashions or anything?
No, we really didn't think about it that deeply, honestly. We were just, following the tried and true tradition that all soap operas do, where you age characters supernaturally.
Yeah.
Just to get them to the point where
you think
want them to.
There was nowhere else to go with Andy as a little kid?
Yeah, I think, it just, even as it was, I think ultimately it wasn't 100% solution to that problem. Because I felt like the movie, by Child's Play 3, it was getting to feel repetitious, definitely. That, Chucky is just still trying to get to this kid to transfer his soul. But I felt that if, you made him a teenager and gave him teenage concerns and put him in a military school, I was probably influenced by Damien Omen 2 in that regard as well.
Okay.
It just seemed like a fun, rather than just having him be in high school, just the fact that it's highly regimented, because Chucky, by that point, he was kind of getting solidified in pop culture as being this, beloved anti-hero, and young horror fans were really loving the fact that he kind of goes after authority figures and subverts authority. So I just thought that,
there's something about him, he can't catch a break. He's already really screwed, no one really thinks highly of him. Every time he tries to do something, it either falls in his face because he has to pretend to be a doll. There's a scene where he's trapped in a garbage chute here, and he's like, crap! And it's like, poor Chucky. He deserves better.
Well, it's kind of hard. I personally find it hard to resist those absurd, increasingly silly situations for Chucky to be in, which is why we then got to Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
Because the premise is so absurd. But once you start opening it up more and more, more people know that this doll is alive. Older people know that the doll is alive. The whole thing starts to fall apart.
It has to be kept a secret.
Yeah, it's a very difficult line to walk. But anyway, I thought that the military school arena would freshen it up a bit, and certainly there were a lot of opportunities for new weapons for Chucky, and again, new authority figures for him to tear down.
Tell me about the hair fetishist barber.
Andy Robinson.
Yeah. Is that based on a real person, or because that's a weird character?
It's not really based on a real person, but certainly as a kid, I like a lot of kids, I remember being very traumatized by getting my hair cut.
Yeah.
I don't know that all kids. I was definitely one of those kids.
I remember the first time I consciously had a haircut, I was like, is my hair going to bleed? I was young and dumb. But there's something about, they're just going to strap you to a chair, and they're just going to put a sharp implement to your head over and over again. Now, don't move. It is a good idea. But the idea that here's a guy who really gets off on it.
Yeah.
He's like, you're getting a little shaggy. And I love how, everyone gets this, really close, cropped, jarhead look. And then Andy looks pretty shaggy, actually. This whole movie, he gets off light, I think.
Does he? Well, he doesn't have the jar head that some of the other guys do, but it's regulation.
It's regulation.
I remember actually having an interesting in retrospect argument with Jack Bender, the director of that movie. Jack has since gone on to be one of the biggest directors in television. He directed most of the Lost episodes, including the final one. I did not imagine that character that Andy Robinson played, I didn't imagine him being so over the top in the performance. In retrospect, Jack was absolutely right, because it's really the only way to do it. I just thought he should just be a little more naturalistic, because I felt that Chucky was so over the top that everything else around him should be relatively grounded.
Yeah.
And Jack and Andy disagreed and felt that he needed to be this kind of extreme character. And in retrospect, I think that they were right. Yeah. But I think he's one of the most memorable elements of that movie, and I think that his murder is a lot of fun. I was a big Sweeney Todd fan, and so that was partly where that was coming from.
Yeah. You just can't keep a good guy down.
going back into the story, do you have a favorite kill from this one?
Probably my favorite one would be the barber.
Oh yeah,
To see how he says his the barber's tagline is like "Presto, you're bald," and then he slices
Presto.
"You're dead," and then Andy's friend walks down and he sees the Chucky standing there.
yeah,
Boo,
yes.
and then he just takes off. But I mean, I like that. Just the one-liners, they're classic.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this is like a bold statement, but I kind of prefer Chucky to Freddy Krueger's one-liners.
Don't fuck with me!
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just I don't know. It's strange because I feel like Chucky. He's of course he's not a good guy or whatever, but I feel like in some of these, and I have another little interview that they kind of talk about this, but I feel like he kind of like takes out people of authority if you think about it.
Yeah.
Or like when people are mean to Andy, or it always kind of like comes back to like he takes them out. You know what I mean?
I don't have a problem with killing.
And as sadistic as that is, I feel like that's kind of cool.
No, yeah, that is cool. Yeah, like he did the same thing when Child's Play 2 with the teacher and the dad. But yeah. Did you have a favorite kill?
Let me think real quick. From this one,
I can't really remember too many kills in this movie.
I did.
The dump truck.
I like the dump truck was great because that's
cool.
a fear. I would think a fear of that everybody has in their back
Being
of their
trapped inside.
Because that's first of all it's disgusting, and then you're just like, oh, I'm going to be a pancake, now, and there's nothing I can do. But I think I like the heart attack because it was so like, because. For the people who maybe haven't seen this yet, there's was it like the general,
like the colonel, whatever he was,
like the fucking head honcho, the head honcho of the military school, is a very like macho man. Like we don't you don't play with dolls.
There's no wussies here.
Toys are dumb. So he keeps seeing Chucky around because he's alive, and he won't. He's aware of Andy's backstory, but refuses to believe that this doll could be alive. So there's this scene where he takes Chucky and throws him into a little trash can upside down, very very disrespectful, and all of a sudden Chucky just he turns around and Chucky's gone. And then a couple seconds later he pops out around the corner with this like huge
Rambo
hunting knife, and they do like an insert shot of just the knife and him seeing this doll wielding this giant knife, and so he has he goes into a heart attack.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
and
Chucky's so disappointed.
And Chucky looks at him and he's like,
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
He really wanted to kill him.
And the guy he falls back on this like glass display of the school or something, and I thought that was an interesting one.
Yeah, I like that one. That was pretty cool. It was pretty
anticlimactic.
There you go.
But it works.
It does
for the kind of humor that they is throughout this whole film. That makes perfect sense. And this movie, it has nostalgia on its side. Mm-hmm. So as like obscene as it could be, I feel like we accept it because of the time that it came out, and you can tell that this is kind of a period piece and it's very 90s, even though they're in the military school, except for the beginning when Chucky is revived back
in the warehouse.
Oh, we haven't talked about that. So the way that he comes back because there's always some big dumb way that he's resurrected.
Yeah.
But so they go back and they open up the good guy factory. That was the end of part 2, where he was blown up. They take his body to dispose of it, and they unknowingly drop like all some of his blood from the old body into the batter of the latex
The
that
new
they,
latex,
that they
to make new models of them.
of the good guy dolls. So the first one off the conveyor belt supposedly is Charles Lee Ray reinvented.
Yeah.